The underestimated species, the grand assembly of worlds, the crystal spires of the Nexari homeworld stretch toward 3 suns, casting rainbow shadows across the most advanced military command center in the known galaxy. Admiral Kethver stood before a holographic display showing star maps that represented the dominion of the Nexari Empire. Over 400 conquered worlds glowed in their imperial blue, each one a testament to superior technology and tactical brilliance. Today's gathering would add another world to that collection. The primitives from the 3rd planet of a yellow star system had finally made contact, and their representatives were arriving for what the Nexari considered a formality. Earth would surrender, just like all the others. "Admiral," called Commander Zexhai from her station, "the human vessel has entered our space. Single ship, primitive fusion drive, no visible weapon systems." Kethva's mandibles clicked in amusement. "One ship? They're not even trying to appear threatening." The assembled Nexari officers shared the laughter. In their experience, species either came with massive fleets to attempt a negotiation from strength, or arrived with nothing, hoping for mercy. Neither approach had ever worked. The human envoy, the airlock hissed open, and Captain Elena Vasquez stepped into the Nexari command chamber. She wore a simple blue uniform with minimal decoration, carried no visible weapons, and walked with the unhurried pace of someone taking a casual stroll. The assembled alien commanders, each representing millions of years of evolutionary perfection, in warfare, towered over the small human figure. "I am Captain Elena Vasquez, speaking for the United Earth Defense Council," she said in clear, unaccented galactic standard. "I understand you wish to discuss the status of human worlds." Admiral Kethver studied the human with predatory interest. The species was unremarkable. Bipedal, carbon-based, no natural armor or weapons. Their technology readings showed primitive. Kinetic weapons, basic chemical rockets, and power systems that belonged in a museum. "Indeed, Captain. We're here to accept your surrender and discuss integration into the Nexari Empire." "I appreciate the offer," Vasquez replied with what appeared to be genuine politeness, "but we'll have to decline. However, we'd like to propose an alternative arrangement." The chamber fell silent. In 3,000 years of expansion, no species had ever declined Nexari rule and lived to tell about it. Commander Zexhai leaned forward. "You're refusing conquest? Do you understand what our ships are capable of?" Vasquez nodded. "Your dreadnoughts can crack continents. Your fighters move at significant fractions of light speed. Your shields can absorb the output of small stars. Very impressive technology." She paused, seeming to consider her words carefully. "But we've developed something different. We call it the Silent Protocol." The strategic presentation enlightened us, Kethver said, his tone dripping with condescension. Vasquez activated a small holographic projector. The display showed human ships arranged in basic formations around Earth and its colonies. "Our defensive strategy is based on 3 principles. First, every human settlement operates independently. No central command structure to target or disrupt. Second, our ships use predictable patrol patterns and standard defensive positions. Nothing sophisticated or hard to counter." The Nexari officers exchanged glances. This was even more primitive than their intelligence had suggested. "Commander," Bython spoke up. "Captain, with respect, these tactics were obsolete before our species achieved spaceflight. Your independent settlements become isolated targets. Your predictable patterns make you easy to outmaneuver. That's the 3rd principle," Vasquez continued, seemingly untroubled by the criticism. "Every human action is completely voluntary. No orders, no commands, no forced cooperation. Each person chooses their response based on their own judgment." The laughter started low and built to a crescendo. Admiral Kethva's translator struggled to convey the amusement in his rapid clicks and whistles. "Captain, You're describing anarchy, not military strategy. Coordination wins wars. Unity of command. Synchronized response. Your people will scatter like scared prey animals the moment we arrive. Perhaps, Vasquez agreed. Would you like to test that theory? The challenge accepted within 6 hours. The Nexare First Fleet was moving toward the Sol system. Admiral Kethvar commanded personally, eager to study how quickly human civilization would collapse. The betting pools among his officers gave Earths. Defenses anywhere from 6 to 18 hours before total surrender. Admiral, reported Commanders X-High, were receiving standard defensive communications from human ships. They're broadcasting their positions, patrol schedules, and defensive capabilities in clear, unencrypted channels. They're making this too easy, muttered Commander Bython. It's like they want us to know where to shoot. The first engagement occurred at Proxima Station, humanity's furthest outpost. 12 human ships faced 60 Nexari destroyers in what should have been a massacre lasting minutes. Instead, the battle stretched for 8 hours. Not because the humans were winning, but because they kept doing unexpected things when Nexari. Ships moved to flank them. Human vessels didn't retreat or reinforce their positions. Instead, individual ships made seemingly random decisions. One fighter would suddenly accelerate directly at a Nexari dreadnought. Another would break formation to rescue a damaged vessel. A third would ignore combat entirely to evacuate a nearby research station. They're fighting like madmen, observed Commanders X-High. No coordination, no strategy, just individual chaos. Admiral Kethvar studied the tactical display with growing unease. The humans were losing, certainly, but they were also taking far more Nexari ships than their technology should have allowed. Their unpredictability is making our targeting system struggle, he admitted. When you can't predict enemy movement, patterns, optimal firing solutions become impossible. The pattern emerges as the Nexari fleet advanced deeper into human space. The pattern became more disturbing. At Mars' defense platform, human ships again broadcast their positions and capabilities. Again, they fought with apparent randomness and lack of coordination. And again, they inflicted unexpected casualties on superior forces. Sir, Commander Bython reported with obvious confusion, our casualties are running 30% higher than projected. Not because their weapons are more powerful, but because we can't predict their targeting priorities. One human ship will ignore a strategic target to help evacuees. Another will sacrifice itself to save one damaged fighter. Our tactical computers can't model their behavior. Admiral Kethvar felt the first flutter of genuine concern. The humans were still losing every engagement, but they were making victory. Expensive. More troubling, his officers were beginning to make mistakes. The Nexari military machine was designed for efficiency, predictability, and overwhelming force. When faced with enemies who acted randomly, that machine started showing cracks. Perhaps, suggested Commanders X-High, their Captain Vasquez was telling the truth. Maybe they really don't have central command. Maybe every human is just making individual decisions. Impossible, Kethvar replied, but with less certainty than before. No species survives in space without coordination. There has to be a pattern we're missing. The Earth approached 3 days later. The Nexari First Fleet entered Earth's solar system. The planet hung before them, blue and green, and seemingly defenseless. Human ships formed their standard, predictable defensive formations around the homeworld. Once again, they broadcast their positions and capabilities in clear language. Admiral, reported the communications officer, we're receiving a message from Captain Vasquez. The human appeared on screen, still wearing that same simple uniform, still speaking with the same calm politeness. Admiral Kethvar, welcome to our home system. I see you've had a chance to observe our silent protocol in action. Your people fight bravely, Captain, Kethvar admitted, but they fight without coordination. Earth will fall within hours. That's possible, Vasquez agreed. But I thought you might be interested in some statistics from your advance through our space. New data appeared on the display. You've destroyed 47 human ships, but lost 18 Nexari vessels. You've captured 3 colonies, but required 72 hours instead of the projected 24. Your casualties are running 40% above estimates. Kethfer studied the numbers with growing unease. Acceptable losses for conquest of a new species. Of course, Vasquez nodded. Now multiply those numbers by the 12,000 inhabited systems in this galaxy that you haven't conquered yet. The implications hit the Nexari command like a physical blow. If every species fought like humans, the Empire's expansion would slow to a crawl. Worse, maintaining control over chaotic, unpredictable populations would drain resources that could be used for further conquest. You're suggesting we leave humanity alone out of inconvenience? Kethfer asked. I'm suggesting you haven't seen the silent protocol yet, Vasquez replied. You've seen humans fight. You haven't seen us disappear? The silent revolution, the vanishing acte attack on Earth, began at precisely 080 Galactic Standard Time. Admiral Kethvar deployed his forces in the textbook pattern that had conquered 400 worlds. Heavy cruisers would bombard planetary defenses, while fighters swept away the human fleet. Within 6 hours, Earth would be just another blue dot in the Nexari Empire. The first sign of trouble came 30 minutes into the engagement. Admiral, called Commanders XI, her voice tight with confusion. Battle Group 7 isn't responding. To communications. Jamming? Negative, sir. Their signals just stopped. All 15 ships went silent simultaneously. Kethfer felt ice forming in his veins. 15 ships didn't just stop transmitting without warning. He opened tactical displays showing Battle Group 7's last known position. Empty space. Not debris, not energy signatures from destroyed vessels. Just void where a significant portion of his fleet should be. Send a reconnaissance drone to their coordinates. He ordered. 10 minutes later, the drone's data confirmed his worst fear. Empty space. No wreckage, no radiation, no sign that 15 Nexari warships had ever existed. They had simply vanished. Admiral, Commander Bython reported, Battle Groups 3 and 11 have also gone silent. Same pattern. All ships in each group stopped transmitting at exactly the same moment. Admiral Kethvar stared at tactical displays that showed holes, where 60% of his fleet should be. The remaining human ships continued their seemingly random, uncoordinated defense of Earth, but something had removed 43 Nexari vessels without leaving a trace. The communication. Admiral Kethvar. Captain Vasquez appeared on screen again. I believe you're missing some ships. What have you done with my fleet? Kethvar demanded. They're perfectly safe, Vasquez assured him with that same calm politeness. Relocated to what we call quantum probability space. Think of it as being temporarily removed from this reality. They exist, but not in any dimension you can access. Impossible. Our sensors would detect dimensional manipulation on that scale. Vasquez nodded thoughtfully. Your sensors are designed to detect energy signatures, spatial distortions, and quantum fluctuations. The silent protocol doesn't use any of those things. Then how? Admiral, you made the same mistake as every other species you've conquered. You assumed that lack of coordination meant lack of capability. You saw humans making individual decisions and concluded we were primitive. But what if individual decisions could be perfectly synchronized without communication? The display behind. Vasquez shifted to show something that made every Nexari officer freeze in terror. It was a map of their empire. Every world, every fleet, every strategic installation highlighted in blue. But overlaid on that map were red dots. Thousands of them, and each red dot was labeled with a human name. For the last 50 years, Vasquez continued, while you conquered other species, humans have been spreading quietly through the galaxy, not as invaders or colonists, but as individuals making personal choices. Some became traders. Others took jobs on freight ships. Many became technical specialists on alien worlds. Commander High whispered, "They're everywhere. Humans are everywhere." The Quantum Consciousness Network, the silent protocol, isn't military technology, Vasquez explained. It's consciousness technology. Every human brain naturally operates on quantum frequencies. We discovered how to synchronize those frequencies across any distance instantaneously. When humans appear to make individual decisions, we're actually participating in a collective quantum consciousness network. Admiral Kethvar felt the last of his certainty crumble. You're saying every human action is coordinated? Coordinated, but not controlled, Vasquez corrected. Each person still chooses freely, but those choices are informed by the collective knowledge and wisdom of our entire species. When you attacked our outposts, you weren't fighting random individuals. You were fighting against the combined tactical intelligence of 40 billion humans, all sharing information instantaneously. The implications were staggering. Every seemingly random move by human ships had been informed by the collective knowledge of their species. Every unpredictable decision was actually the result of billions of minds considering the optimal response. The Nexari hadn't been fighting chaos. They'd been fighting a form of intelligence so advanced they couldn't recognize it. And your missing ships, Vasquez continued, were removed from reality by humans working in your own fleet installations. Remember, we've been spreading through the galaxy for decades. Quantum consciousness means a human technician on a Nexari station can coordinate perfectly with a human fighter pilot near Earth. They simply decided your ships needed to exist somewhere else for a while. The scale of infiltration. Show us. Admiral Kethvar demanded. The display changed to show a Nexari military station in the Vega system. A human technician was visible, working on what appeared to be routine maintenance. As they watched, the human looked directly at the camera and waved. Then the station vanished. Another display showed a Nexari supply depot. 3 human workers were loading cargo. They paused in their labor, looked at the camera, and smiled. The depot disappeared across the galaxy. Nexari installations began vanishing. Not destroyed, not damaged, simply relocated to quantum probability space by humans who had been working there for years. Weapons factories, communication relays, fuel refineries, training academies. All gone, removed by humans who had made the individual choice to participate in Earth's defense. This is impossible, Commander Bython protested. The logistics alone. Coordinating actions across thousands of light years without faster-than-light communication. We don't need faster-than-light communication, Vasquez explained patiently. Quantum consciousness operates outside normal space-time. Distance is irrelevant. When one human knows something, every human can know it instantly if they choose to access the collective network. Admiral Kethvar realized he was witnessing something unprecedented. Not conquest, but a form of collective intelligence so subtle that victims never realized they were being infiltrated until it was too late. The choice. What do you want? Kethvar asked. Peace, Vasquez replied simply. The Nexari Empire can continue to exist, but expansion ends here. No more conquest, no more forced integration. Species choose their own path. And if we refuse? The display showed the current status of Nexari space. Red dots marked human presence on 90% of their worlds. Military installations, government centers, communication hubs, all staffed at least partially by humans who had arrived quietly over 5 decades. Then you'll learn what happens when 40 billion humans all make the individual choice to help liberate oppressed species. Vasquez sighed. The silent protocol isn't just defensive, Admiral. We can remove your entire empire from reality if necessary. Every ship, every station, every weapon. Not destroyed, just relocated somewhere you can't reach. The threat was delivered with the same calm politeness she'd shown throughout their interactions. This wasn't anger or aggression. It was simply a statement of capability that the new Galactic Order Admiral Kethvar made the only choice available to a rational commander. Within hours, ceasefire orders went out to all Nexari forces. The war was over before it had truly begun, ended. Not by superior firepower, but by a form of intelligence the galaxy had never encountered. Your ships and installations will be returned within 48 hours, Vasquez promised, along with any Nexari personnel who wish to return home. Some have asked to stay and work with human communities. Their choice. As the human captain, prepared to end the transmission, Kethvar had one final question. Captain, how long have you been planning this? Vasquez smiled, and for the first time, it reached her eyes. Admiral, we weren't planning anything. 50 years ago, humans started, spreading through the galaxy because individuals chose to explore, to trade, to work, to learn. No government ordered it. No military planned it. People just decided they wanted to see what was out there. And the Quantum Consciousness Network? Developed by a group of scientists who wanted to help their children stay connected to family while working on distant worlds. They shared the technology freely because it felt right to do so. No one commanded them to create it. The transmission ended, leaving Admiral Kethvar staring at displays that showed a galaxy forever changed. The Nexari Empire would survive, but its age of expansion was over. Not ended by force, but by a species that had quietly become ubiquitous. While pursuing individual dreams of exploration and connection, in the years that followed, the galaxy learned to coexist with humanity's silent protocol. Species that had lived under Nexari rule for millennia suddenly found themselves free to choose their own destiny. Some remained with the Empire by choice. Others declared independence. A few joined the growing human community that somehow existed. Everywhere and nowhere, connected by quantum consciousness, but governed by individual freedom. The age of conquest was over. The age of choice had begun. And throughout the galaxy, humans continued to spread, not as invaders or conquerors, but as individuals making personal decisions that collectively reshaped the cosmos. They were teachers, traders, engineers, and explorers. They were everywhere and anywhere their curiosity led them. Most importantly, they were free. Asterisk.